Friends, we're so grateful that you've joined us this evening for a special program, Easing Suffering with Self-Compassion, the next event in our anti-racism series that we're hosting here as the Interfaith Council of Contra, Costa County. And we're so pleased tonight to be able to have fresh Lev White being able to share tonight. Fresh is the CEO of Affirmative Acts Consulting, a love and compassion activist, and I like his byline on his email, Minister of Love. And so he does a lot of training around mindfulness, coaching, mediation, diversity trainings, and we are looking forward to having them come back and being with us on an implicit bias training on Sunday, January 31st from 2:30 to 5. So put that in your calendar and look for more information on our website, interfaithccc.org. We have some great participants here with us tonight, and we're grateful for all of their ability to be here and participate with us and even join in the conversation. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Lev, and really appreciate all of your good work, and thanks for being here tonight.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me. I was giggling at the CEO part just because, like, it's me, right? But I get to choose that title. It's pretty funny. I'm really glad to be here. I've been looking forward to meeting you and practicing with you. Compassion has been probably the most consistent teachings that I've offered since I started teaching mindfulness, and that was back in 2013. I'm actually still continuing a week of not being so well. And so I have the good fortune when Reverend McGarvey asked me if I had slides, I was like, yeah, those can help me get through this. So this won't be a traditional Dharma talk and Dharma practice. It'll be a combination of that with a little bit of the workshop that I offer on compassion that I've been doing recently. So we'll begin by, well, you know, I'm gonna let the slides guide me. Unless you want to, are we sharing the power, or do I have the power? We're having hosting. This is a hosting discussion.
It's you now, and you'll have to let folks in as well.
All right, great, I will. And I'm sorry that this was weird for us. So let's see if I can make this work. Whoops. I can't get to the slideshow button.
You should be able to do it with the button that's in the bottom right.
Okay, great, got it, thank you. All right, so we'll start here. So we'll talk about compassion for easing our experience, and some practices I'll offer for everyday life. And I'm just gonna go through. And so that's me. You've seen, I'm a CEO, which I didn't leave in there. I'm still laughing at that. People don't usually use that, so it's pretty funny. The most important role here is I'm a funkle of two very beautiful young people. And I won't be able to, let's see. Okay, thank you. All right, whoops. Yeah, let's go next. So, and if you put a chat, it might take me a second to figure it out. So these are agreements that I always share, and they reflect what we share at the East Bay Meditation Center, even before we're going to do some practice. And that is just to be kind to each other, respecting each other's shares. We'll do some sharing as we go along. And unfortunately, I don't know how to do breakout rooms, but we're really small, so we'll make it work here. And I don't think that these will be issues. I think what I want to Stress is that if you're someone who's used to always raising your hand, maybe see if you can stretch past that urge. And if you're someone who's shy when questions come up, to stretch past the urge to not share. And then please take care of yourself. That includes stepping away, getting water, walking around, whatever you need to do to make yourself feel comfortable. And putting your hand on your heart and or your belly if anything rises up for you that touches you in that way. Let's see, great. So let's begin with a little practice. And I can't see you, so you're welcome to have your screens on or off. I'm going to keep an eye out for anybody who should arrive. So I'll ring the bell and we'll just practice this time for a few minutes. And getting quiet and comfortable in your seat. On your next exhale, you might choose to release your shoulders. On your next inhale, you might check your posture. You should be comfortable breathing in and rising up. Exhaling again, releasing your shoulders and back. And if you're comfortable, let's take 3 breaths together to help bring us present. And I will lead us through the breathing, and please take care of your body. So when I say we'll take a full breath, full is whatever is comfortable for you, whatever works for you. We'll hold at the top for a moment, and you're taking care of yourself then. And as we're exhaling, I'm actually going to be pulling my belly in and really letting go. And in my letting go, not only am I releasing the breath, but I might release anything that I don't need in this moment, anything that I'm carrying from my day. Breathing in and allowing my belly to rise. And hold. And breathing out. And releasing, letting go, letting go, letting go. Breathing in. And hold. Breathing out. Letting go, letting go. Breathing in. And holding for a moment. And as you release, allowing your shoulders to fall, your arms and elbows to fall towards the floor. Breathing in, finding the natural cadence of your breath. And perhaps at the top of your head, you may begin to release any tension. You can imagine in your scalp and forehead. Releasing your brow, the tiny little muscles around your eyes and nostrils. Allowing your cheeks to fall and your jaw to be at ease, releasing your lips and mouths and chin. As you're inhaling, ensuring your neck is upright, whatever that is for your body, whatever feels good. And breathing out again, we're releasing our shoulders and perhaps our chest and belly. Breathing in, allowing our belly to expand. And breathing out, feeling the weight of our body in our seat, or if you're lying down or standing, that pull, the hug towards the earth. We'll do that again the next time you exhale, just feeling that hug, gravity pulling you down towards the earth. Exhaling, we can release our legs, shins, and feet towards the ground. And if it's available to you, you might wiggle your toes and see what the sensations show up there. And if it's not available to you, just noticing the experience. And I'll be quiet for just a couple of minutes while you just find your breath, perhaps following it for the full cycle as many times as you can, breathing in and breathing out. And in this kindness practice, we gently come back, breathing in and breathing out. And as we begin to come back, just knowing that our breath is there for us at any time, as well as an invitation to touch your heart or belly if that's soothing, if you need that at any time. And I'm going to ring the bell. So again, I'm Lev, and thank you for joining us today. I'm just going to make sure nobody's in the waiting room. Great. So actually, I'm going to come back on screen, and so we can introduce ourselves to each other. And we'll do name, pronoun, and then current land, if you know where that is, your location or your land. So let me stop the share so I can see who you are. And I'll model. My name is Lev, and my pronouns are he and they. And I'm currently on Ohlone and Chochenyo territory in a land also called Oakland, California. So let me know if you'd like to volunteer or if you want me to call on you to go next. Go ahead, Reverend Margaret.
Lev, why don't you let me be the host and I'll put up a map of which First Nations were here.
Oh, you have that. How cool
Yeah.
is that?
And then I'll give
While
it
he's
back to
doing
you.
that, my name is Margaret, and I use she and they, and I am from Ohlone and Bay-Miwok,
Cool.
which sometimes is also called unincorporated Danville. I'm on the road to the top of the mountain, and what's on my heart, which is I think the fourth question you had on the screen, is I feel like I'm in a yurt. Like it's so cold outside and I'm so warm, and I feel just like I'm in this cozy circle. So I'm really happy to be here with all of you.
Wow, I'm happy for you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you again.
I know we have met before, right?
Just once, yeah.
Where did we meet?
With Will when we.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
You look different for some reason. Anyway, yeah. Nice to meet you again.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Who'd like to go next? Share your name, your pronoun if you like to do that, where you're located, and what's on your heart.
This is Reza, Sharif
Hi,
Zadeh,
Reza.
and I am with MTO Shah Maksudi Islamic Sufism,
Oh, cool.
centered in Berkeley, and the land is about El Sobrante, California. I'm very interested to see your teachings and very interested in meditation and relaxation and coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
And who's next?
I'll go next just to let everyone know I put the picture in the chat room, and you can just double click on that image and it'll show you. I'm Will McGarvey, Executive Director of the Interfaith Council, and I live in Benicia, which is formerly Patwin land, and my church is in Pittsburgh, which is Bay Miwok.
Thank you. And I'll explain why we do that when we're done. I should have done that in the beginning. Shelley, Sheila, and Terry. One of you have got to be more introverted than the rest. Or extroverted, I meant. Go ahead. You have to unmute.
Thanks. So my name is Celia, and I never thought about what pronoun I go under, so I'll give that some thought. And it looks like I'm on Bay Miwok land because I live in Rossmore, which is near Walnut Creek. And what's in my heart? Was that the question? What's in my heart?
Yeah, what's on your heart right now?
Gratitude.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Who would like to go next? Now I see the bigger screen. Deborah, hi.
Hi. Yes, I'm Deborah. I believe I live on Miwok land. I'm in Pleasant Hill. And what's on my mind is I had surgery 2 days ago on my throat, and I am healing. But healing is the metaphor of what I think is a purpose of our lives. So healing is what's on my heart.
Yay. Congratulations. Thanks for being here. Who's next?
I guess I'll go. I'm Terry, and my pronoun is she or her. I don't know. I'm tired. That's what's on my heart. And I had to look at the map to see what land I'm on. I'm the Chochenyo.
Yes, Chochenyo. Yes, Alone or just Chochenyo?
Pleasant Hill, Chochenyo.
Okay.
I don't know. So, and I am tired, but I'm glad to be here.
Glad you're here, Terry.
Hi, this is Felicity. I'm on Miwok land, and pronouns are she, her. And my heart is in a place that is in transition.
Thank you, Felicity. Who's next? Hi, Meg.
Hi, I'm Meg. I'm she, her, hers. I'm living on Bay Miwok Stockland lands. And I think my heart is seeking compassion.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. We've got Deborah, Ruth, Annette. Time is of the essence. Oh, Christine. Hi, Christine.
Hi.
And so I'm Elizabeth, and I believe I'm on Miwok land, and I'm grateful to be here with you all. And I go by she and her.
Thank you. And Annette raised your hand. I don't see you though. Oh, there's Annette up in the corner.
I am here. Annette Beckstrand, and I believe there's a lot of Miwok trails and parks in the Brentwood area, so I'm going to say Miwok. Oh, my pronouns, this is a totally new thing for me. So I guess it's she and her. I'll probably have to be schooled in the pronoun thing a little more, because I noticed some people use they and we, and so I'll have to learn what that's about and why. And my heart is full of family. I just got to spend some time with a granddaughter and her family, celebrating a very special thing for her. And today is the birthday of both of my daughters. So my heart is full of family and joy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay, yay. And Elizabeth, I just wanted to thank you for your photo as well.
Thank you. I took it myself.
Christine and Ruth.
This is Ruth Ahern. I'm a she. I like being a we also.
You can, whatever you desire.
And well, being together with other people is very important. So I think I'm on Sakhalin Indian area in Walnut Creek, and my heart is eager to hear what we are going to talk about tonight.
Great, thank you.
And I'm Christine, and the pronoun idea is new to me also. So I suppose it would be she and her or she and we. And I am on the coast Miwok land in Hercules. And my heart is just feeling very unsettled tonight. So even that first thing that we went through was very helpful. And thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for sharing. First, I'll clarify, because it was the last part, is we includes all of ourselves. So our younger selves, our, the parts of us we love, the parts of us maybe we're working on. So that's what a we pronoun would include. Sometimes I'm a we. And then we talk about the land and as one of our compassion practices. So there's something to naming what's real and what's present. And what's true is that we're on stolen land. And not acknowledging that doesn't actually make it go away. It just becomes one of those chips on our shoulders or rocks in our backpack because we decide to ignore it. But if we actually acknowledge that this is, that we are on land that is stolen, and many of I don't know actually if I can say many, but I know in Oakland, the Ohlone people are quite active in their work in the area, in the land work and community work. So we acknowledge that just so we can it offers us a clearing. It's a way of freeing ourselves from some, somewhat ignorance, but we're chosen ignorance. So thank you all for participating in that. And there's also an app called Native Land. You can also go there in addition to what was kindly shared by Reverend Will. Whoops, that's not your slide. Here's your slide. Great.
The other thing I'll just mention is that there's a Sagoriate land trust that takes donations to help preserve the sacred spaces of land for the different tribes, especially in the East Bay, but they're working with some of the South Bay tribes and First Nations as well, and the Bay Miwok, and that Sagoriate Land Trust link is in the chat room.
Oh, great. Yeah, I pay my, what they call a tax. Literally, I think mine is $9 a month. So I know that money goes to helping to restore land because they're actually growing trees and supporting Native communities in different ways. So thank you for bringing that up. And we're going to take a moment. And I used to date someone, whenever she was troubled, I would ask her what's in her pocket. And it was a metaphor for what is available to you right now that offers support. And it can also be just looking at where you are now, right in your space. You might not even have to get up. It might be a pen, or it might be, I have this rock that I found recently, and I have this other rock that I've had for a really long time. I don't know where in this country I got it, but they bring me grounding and support. So just consider maybe looking around you and seeing if there's something that's supportive for you, and maybe let us get a peek at it if you'd like. So I'll give you just about 60 seconds in case you have to cross the room. And it could be as simple as a pen that's near you that's just weighted perfectly. Or it might be a photo of someone or some being.
What if everything in your house makes you feel grounded?
Oh, that's a good question. If everything in your house makes you feel grounded.
I surround myself with things that make me happy.
I surround myself with things that make me happy. And sometimes there's that one thing that's making me happy today. So, and we just did that for 60 seconds. So if you have something, hold it, and we'll get back to that. And so like I said earlier, if you weren't here, I'm sort of working with half my fuel. And so I'm using this PowerPoint to help guide us through. And hopefully you'll still get what I'm trying to bring you. So what is compassion? And then I also do crazy things with PowerPoint. So compassion literally means to suffer together, to suffer with. And emotion researchers have defined it as a feeling that arises when we are confronted with another's suffering and feel motivated to relieve it. And something that's important about this, especially in our time and in our place, is that there's lots of reasons to be compassionate, and we can't always extend it. And even acknowledging that we don't always have the capacity. So for me, for example, if I'm driving around Oakland and Berkeley, I certainly want to offer compassion to everyone that I see, all the homeless people. And sometimes I can't, but I can acknowledge their suffering in some way. Hold on, I'm gonna admit Muhammad's coming in. And so another example of compassion is sort of like, an extreme, but this dog goes running into a house to rescue a kitten. And I was talking to, let's see, speaking of international, goodness, I can't remember what country it was at this moment, I'm sorry, but they were talking about how in India, when people see someone who they describe as a beggar or someone asking for money on the street, they always look them in the eye, even if they need to say no, and acknowledging their humanity. And I don't want to discount how sometimes that's not safe, especially if you're female, especially if you're elder, depending on the time of day. But one of my practices is if I feel like for some reason this person's, maybe I feel there might be a mental health challenge happening, is I can look at their heart, and I can look at their heart and offer compassion there. And some of you know Hillel, the elder, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, who am I? And if not now, when? And generally, when I'm doing one of my trainings, I mention all of the different ways that we're suffering, that I can, but that we're suffering globally. So the idea of COVID, I think really, COVID was one of the Oh, so let me back up. So again, my mind, sorry. So 2020, when 2020 started, I did all these New Year's workshops and mindfulness Dharma discussions. And my tagline was Insight 2020. This is the year we're supposed to really look inward and take care of ourselves. And then, people go about their day and like not everybody's doing that. And then COVID happens and we're literally sort of vacuumed into ourselves and into our beings. And to some extent, we're able to be there and to be present. And of course, some of us are taking action, so then that shows up in different ways for other people. And still, though, there's lots of resistance to being with ourselves. And so, when the smoke came, and we couldn't go out in this area, here comes another. Stay in, go inward, do this work. And it's not just about doing the hard work, but it can be about exploring what are the ways that we can be more compassionate for ourselves and to ourselves so that maybe we're going to support the broader community. And so that leads us to talk a little bit about self-compassion, which is extending compassion to oneself in instances of perceived inadequacy, failure, or general suffering. And Kristen Neff, who's one of my teachers, has defined self-compassion as being composed of three main components: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. And the mindfulness part is one of the tools that has supported me with being self-compassionate. So those of you who have a practice, you understand that the practice allows you to be more clear and aware of what's going on, not just in the world, of what's going on in your mind. And once we can see clearly what's going on in our mind, we are able to make some choices. And the choice might be, I'm beating myself up. Do I beat myself up for beating myself up? Or do I take time to be compassionate with myself? And I find that when I'm not in a regular practice, I can have the voices in my head sort of repeat and take over. So I'll go there. And then there's something, another one of my teachers, and you may know Tara Brach, there's something wonderful, bold, and liberating about saying yes to our entire imperfect and messy life. And wow. And the truth is that we're all perfect. You may have heard Thich Nhat Hanh say, we're all perfect just the way we are. We just might need a little work. We might need a little help. And in the meanwhile, how can we take care and practice in loving ourselves? And I'd like to invite you to consider giving yourself a hug in this moment. One of the phrases that I use often is to remind people that they are worthy. And you know you're worthy because you just inhaled. It's all you need to know that you're worthy. And so imagine being worthy of your own love and your own touch and your own compassion. I don't know all the ways to talk about it, but supposedly neurologically, just touching ourselves, touching our hearts, and giving ourselves hugs releases endorphins and allows us some mindful ease, but also some body healing. So I'll give you a second because I can't see you, and I imagine you're hugging yourselves like crazy, right? Okay, so and then I said, what is mindful self-compassion and how might it support us in our professional lives and our personal lives? Again, I do this for business. And mindful self-compassion is when you acknowledge your own suffering or discomfort and find ways to be kind or say things to yourself that are kind and soothing. The first, I'll give two stories very briefly. When I was a younger person, I used to hang out in a club in San Francisco. And that was mostly in the 90s into the early 2000s. And that club kept going on. It's a little bar called the Lexington in San Francisco. And, I was young and hip back then and wild and partied. And so just about 5 years ago, and it's been like probably almost 10 years since I had gone there and engaged in that kind of partying. And so about 5 years ago, being way out of the scene, being 20 years older, going into a city that was once 14% African American and now is 3% or less, walking up Valencia Street and seeing all of the new stores and all the new places and really feeling out of place. There was a voice in my head that was saying, "You're fat, you're old, and you're black." Literally, this voice is in my head. "You don't belong here." And it's telling me, and with almost each step, it's like telling me about how I'm not going to fit in, and I'm going to go in this bar, and it's going to be a whole bunch of young white women, mostly women, white people. They're going to hate me. And I'm walking and walking and taking a step, and then finally a voice comes from out of nowhere and says, "Don't be so mean." Almost just like that tone. And immediately I realized that I was in a trance. I got out of the trance. I went to the club, walked into open arms of people because everybody was there and had a wonderful experience. I would say the first time I noticed someone was talking, I'm an adoptee, and I remember something that someone had said about their family activated me. And so I got to the point where I could realize that I was activated because I didn't always have that skill. And a voice in my head was just saying, it started with, "Oh, you're triggered." And then a half hour later, it's still going, "You're triggered, you're triggered, you're triggered." I didn't realize what was happening. And then I wake up out of that. And that's my practice. And that was earlier days. I'm much better at figuring that out now. But it's just like examples. I'm sure you've had experiences where you do something and you might call yourself stupid, which I hope that you don't. But then you're still calling yourself that 5-10 minutes later. So the mindfulness helps us to move past that more quickly. And we're not going to do breakout rooms. And I might, let's see what time it is. Let's see. I might skip that slide. I want to do some practice with you. So let's see if there's anything else I want to say before I go on. The idea of self-compassion or compassion seems really simple. I'm sure you've all come here going, "I know what compassion is." Maybe you're thinking, "Why is he talking about compassion?" Like, we get it. We know what it is. We know what self-compassion is. The question is, are you practicing it? And are you practicing it regularly? And are you practicing it consciously? So it is my true belief that when we practice compassion, we are able to be more available. It's on the same slide for a while. Hopefully, is it on? Okay, let's see. Thank you for the little, it should say self-compassion tools for everybody. So where is it? So the question is,
It says who's on your wall still.
oh, it does? That's not even
Yeah.
an option. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna have to come
Maybe
back.
you need to reshare the
Yeah.
PowerPoint you wanted.
You're all on a whole different workshop. I'm serious. Oh yeah, I'm having my moment. Oh wait, what do you see now?
Self-compassion tools for every day.
Okay, wow, you were on a totally different workshop.
We're with you now.
Hopefully whatever you saw was useful. So you probably saw a picture. Did you see a picture of me and all the different photos?
It was on the side, but that's okay. We
right,
could hear what you were talking about.
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, let's do some practice before it gets too late. So what I was saying was compassion actually has to be conscious practice. It's just like brushing your teeth. One of my practices every day is gratitude. So I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is I either say thank you or I say good morning. And I'm talking to spirit, universe, all the different ways that I talk about spirit and the universe. And I say thank you, and sometimes I say this better be a good one because Spirit has a good sense of humor. So I need you to stay with me. And then I go directly to just what's there. And I give thanks for my cover, my pillow, my sheets, and my room. As someone who has worked with homeless people, it's important for me to acknowledge those every morning, acknowledging my bed. And sometimes as I get out of bed, I give thanks for standing. I've certainly been injured before. And so I give thanks to that, knowing that I won't always be able to do that. That's just life. The same is with compassion. So finding time in my day to actually put my hand on my heart, and I might just simply say, may I be at ease when I notice that something's happening. Gratitude, again, can be a compassion practice for me. I'm so grateful for this thing, even though this thing might be bothering me. And I'll share some more phrases with you. So let's see, I got it right. So we talked, that was the gratitude. And then the idea of being really present with what is. And so being able to be with my breath, being able to acknowledge what's going on, and choosing. So for me, I'm slightly addicted to Amy Goodman. And so when I'm not feeling well, like this week, I actually have to be present with my body because I also can get really activated, and I get to choose not to watch that today or this week. And obviously that can go for, am I present in this moment? Am I present with you? Are you present here? And if you're not present, do you want to be? And what do you need? What do you need at this time? Of course, meditation and breath, being able to just know that I'm breathing. It's a practice that I do automatically. So it happens just within every hour, there's a noticing of, just taking a breath and then, and what do I need? What do I need? Oh, I'm ignoring that I have to go to the bathroom. Okay. Oh, I'm ignoring that I'm hungry, right? These are all self-compassion. Again, being in my body, right? That's part of that compassion, part of a self-compassion. Oh, okay, sure. Someone's asking me to talk a little bit more about what it means to be activated. And activated is another term for being triggered. And for me, sometimes like it can happen in my mind when I'm repeating something that's harming me. Something else may have harmed me, and then or something, it might not even be bad, but something reminds me or my body of some way that I was harmed. And so trigger and activated actually are synonymous. People use it in the same way. People are using activated more often. So for me, for example, it almost happens every time, but when I'm listening to Democracy Now!, I can feel my belly getting upset. I'm breathing heavier. So that's what activated would be. Let me see what else I want to say about that. So mindfulness allows you to know, because we're actually often in that state. We're just not aware. Sometimes we're aware when we come down, but sometimes we're not. I did a month-long retreat at Spirit Rock once, so silent. And I remember coming back into the city and getting on BART, and I had no idea how harmful that was to my system. And I got off of BART and then got on the F train, and I could not believe how incredibly loud it was. In some ways, we're almost always in some state of activation or over alertness, which can cause fatigue and illness. So mindfulness can help us recognize, I'm not breathing fully, or wow, I'm not sitting comfortably, and then again go to what do I need? I hope that was helpful. Let's see. Whoops, let's get back to here. And then mindful eating. It's not just about knowing, obviously, what your portions are, and but also being aware of eating. So one of my I heard this old term called an alligator. I guess I'm an alligator, but one of my practices is to go to Al-Anon, and so I grew up with some neglect in addition to the alcohol that was plentiful in the 70s in many households, including my own, and so I don't eat regularly. So for me, mindful eating includes I have to have a schedule, and I actually have to have a reminder, or I won't feed myself. Mindful eating also means, and I encourage people that when you're about to eat, if you can imagine, actually once you put the food on your plate, like looking at the food and the colors, maybe taking in the scent of what it is, even if it's just plain mashed potatoes, just noticing it, and then taking the time to take a bite, putting your hand down and having that full experience of the food in your mouth. So really being mindful of the chewing, the salivating, the swallowing. So mindful eating. Remembering to take breaks, no matter what you're doing, whether you can be crocheting. How long have you been sitting? So reminding yourself to take a break. Electronic breaks. So I haven't done it actually in a couple of weeks, but I try to turn off my phone for 30 to 60 minutes a day. And I've done it a few times. And then when I came back, the earth was still here when I got back. So I noticed that I can turn off my phone and my computer for an hour, but notice how I forget. Exercising, so movement. I'm sure all of us know it doesn't have to be a sprint. It can be a walk around the block. And then checking in with others, not just for the sake of finding out how they're doing, but actually letting your friends and family know how you're feeling. And then remembering to play, whatever that means for you. So drawing, cooking, laughing. Yeah, so these are some of the tools that we can practice every day. Grief. I forgot the slide was coming up. So then there's grief. And what do I want to say about grief in this moment? I think part of what's happening for me this month is in October, I lost 4 people. And the last person was someone who meant a lot to me, who took their lives. They simply couldn't be on this earth anymore. And you may, if anybody's ever been to Tikuz in San Francisco, she was the owner of Tikuz and a beautiful woman. And so grief would, and I'll back up and say that since May, and for the first time, beginning in May or early June, I started offering grief circles for the African American, Black community, both in private spaces, but also in public spaces for cow shakes and tech companies. And what we don't do well in this country is grieve. One of the gifts that I get, I've been going to synagogue now for 3 years, and I'm still not going steadily. But one of the gifts that I get there is that we get to acknowledge our dead, the people who have passed during Shabbat, and it's such a beautiful experience to then say a prayer. In this country, we sort of we want to hide the grief. We don't want to see your grief. Keep it to yourself. And I know you're all spiritual people, so you know this already. And even we can sometimes not take the time to not grieve what's going on. For example, whether it's around the election, no matter what side you're on, if you're on a side, there's still a lot of suffering around that. And then just grieving all the deaths. So actually taking time out to grieve is a self-compassion practice. And then this idea of it not being your fault. And if we had more time, I have a practice with that. But I want to say this to you, and maybe you haven't heard it lately, but there's nothing in your life that's your fault. There's nothing actually in this life that's our fault. The way Tara Brach talks about it is that we sort of come into our lives, and there's these experiences that we have, and then we respond to them. And we don't always respond wisely, but we respond from a survivor place. And acknowledging that can help us to heal so that we're not causing more harm. So one of the things that I've been able to do is offer a lot of forgiveness for my adopted family, because I understand that the behaviors that they sort of practiced with me were from traumas that were not healed. And I actually look at the whole world that way. I feel very fortunate that I can have compassion for, I think, anyone. There are people I might be a little mad at, but it doesn't mean I don't have compassion for them. Because I know that their behaviors are coming from them trying to survive. And while I would really like them to face their traumas and heal, I understand that until they heal, this is how they're going to behave. But bringing it more personally, it's not my fault that I have a problem with my eating disorder, right? It's not necessarily my fault that I used to party a lot. I was surviving in the best ways that I could. And you might look at things in your life that you hold yourself accountable for. There are things that you haven't forgiven yourself for. And if you can understand that you were doing the best you could with what you had. And that might be one of the hardest things for us to take in. But I don't know that that makes it less true. All we want to do is be loved, accepted. We want to be safe. We want to be seen. And when we're not experiencing those things, we behave in ways that can cause harm. And if we want to stop causing harm, and we talk a little bit about this when I do, in the future, we talked about me doing a program on dismantling microaggressions. If we want to stop causing harm, we really have to get honest and kind with ourselves around our past behaviors. And as I've studied in Taoism, from here, like moving from here, who do you want to be? Where do you want to go next? Yeah, so I wanted to offer that. And we'll just take a mindful moment, noticing your breath. And yes, who knows? Maybe bears meditate. I bet they do. I bet they're doing it half the winter. So just noticing your breathing, noticing your mind. What are your thoughts? What would be kind for you right now? What's the kind thing that you need for yourself? And as a reminder, you're worthy of that kindness, and life is telling you that every time you inhale. Each inhale says you're worthy of being good, worthy of all good. You may know the first breath as we come into this life is an inhale. And we exhale on the way out. It doesn't mean we're bad, just releasing and transforming. So we're not going to do a breakout, but I think we'll take a little time to do a little share, and then I'll do practice. So we're going to keep this to just maybe 10 minutes. Maybe we can share what's possible for us, what's possible for you, your life, and the world if you were more kind to yourself throughout the day. What's possible for you?
At first, it brings me peace and comfort. And the minute that occurs is going to reflect to the environment, to the people around me, and that is the key, what I am perceiving from your teaching.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Hi, Mohammed. Anyone, what's possible in your life? What's possible for you if you were kinder to yourself?
I think I'm pretty kind to myself.
Yeah?
Yes, I do. I cope beautifully most of the time, and I'm very grateful to everything I have in life. I wish the world was a happier place and there was less suffering, but if you're talking about my personal self, no matter what happens, I have faith that God is protecting me and that I'm here to do the best I can to help people and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Anyway.
No, that's a nice share. I hope that you share that with people. Well, most of us don't have that. Who else? You might also just have a comment or question. Yes.
I think that if I were kinder to myself throughout the day, I would feel less judgmental in general. If I was less judgmental toward myself, I wouldn't feel kind of that tightness. And then that creates kind of my observation of the world can be very reactive because I'm being reactive to myself. So I just think more would be possible, like so much more if I could walk through the world with that when I am being kind to myself, I know what that feels like. It's this really gentle holding and this really accepting, like, you know, your inherent Buddha nature is visible to me, no matter what you're saying or doing or not saying or not doing. So I don't quite have all the words for it, but I think that would be possible. Like more would be possible.
I think like, if you don't mind me saying, yeah, you were a little stressed when we first met. Right? Yeah, because you look different.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I had a really good day.
Oh, good. It shows, see? I mean, I appreciated you when I first met you. Not to say that I didn't appreciate you, but I can tell. Anybody else want to share? What's
I'll
possible
just say
if
that
you're...
I project less onto others when I'm feeling that myself. And I'm able to be more present rather than worrying about the past or worrying about the future.
Thank you.
Oh, and forgive me, I live alone and I've been on isolation pretty well since March. And so maybe I'm looking at things differently because I am alone and I don't have to worry so much about what other people think of me. Because when I was younger, I still do occasionally. And I grew up in Canada. So I apologize a lot for things I don't need to apologize for. Anyway, I'm alone now.
Sometimes she's terminally nice.
Aha. We have a share in the chat too, which I love, from Deborah. If I were kinder to myself, I would listen and not speak, since I had throat surgery 2 days ago.
Oh.
Yay, Deborah. Yes, rest that throat so we can hear you singing next spring.
So this is Ruth. I was thinking that when I'm kinder to myself, that releases the energy to be kinder to other people. And I can really stop feeling the anger and the frustration at what somebody else is doing and try to understand where they're coming from, what shoes they're walking in.
How do you get over being angry with Trump?
I feel really sorry for him.
He's a wounded person.
But he's destructive and dangerous.
you can be angry, but you can still have compassion for his wounds. See, it doesn't mean you're not angry, but you don't hate, right?
I don't hate him.
Yeah.
Hate is not, well, actually, the hate is not really in my vocabulary, except it almost is for him, I must say. But I
Yeah, we
should
get
feel
frustrated.
I got it.
One of the truths, or I believe is true, is that, the question is, where does he live within you? So we couldn't have an administration like this unless we had a populace of people who were willing to rise it up. So we look at where are, and not in the like self-blame, not in the it's my fault thing, but where do we compromise our values? Where do we refuse to look and see? Where do we judge? Like, all that is happening up there because it's happening in here. And so as we clear our own hearts and clear our own minds, we can then produce what's being produced. But as long as we're choosing to leave people out or ignore anyone's suffering or make an excuse for our own unkind behavior, different than not being your fault, then we're only going to get what we put out. Does that make sense? Release trauma bonds. Yeah. Within ourselves first, Felicity, within ourselves first. That's where we always begin. If all we did was focus on our own, our own traumas and challenges and pains, we would just produce this beautiful world. Oh, thank you, Felicity. Yeah, what a world we would be. So let's do some practices before it gets too late. You ready? Here we go. Let's see if I can remember what was I doing. How do I get back there? Here we go. Great. All right, I'm going to cheat. Don't look. See if I can slide down to the right slide. Yeah, there we go. Great. Let me just see what that chat says. The chat says, I am not even going to the future, but luxuriating in the transformation and healing that is resulting from what you have said so far. Oh, thank you. I'm like reading it really slow. Thank you. All right, here we go. So returning, if I can get back there. Yeah, so let's do some compassion practices. And we're going to go through these phrases. And I know some of you are reading it, but if you're comfortable, I'm going to ring the bell and you close your eyes and I'll say them, I'll repeat them for you. So closing your eyes, if you're comfortable, or having your eyes gaze down at a comfortable level, whatever's natural. If you can, placing your hand on your heart, you may offer these phrases to yourself. May I be kind to myself. May I be kind to myself. May I know that I belong. May I know that I belong. May I connect to my basic goodness. May I connect to my basic goodness. May I know that I am enough. May I know that I am enough. May I be peaceful. May I be peaceful. May I experience more ease. May I experience more ease. May I feel loved and know I am loved. May I feel loved and know I am loved. I'm going to take a moment and I'd like you to bring to mind someone on a level of 1 to 10 who might be ignoring you is like a level 2 or 3, no higher than 3. Someone who may be annoying you or has annoyed you. Just bringing them to mind for a moment. And I'm going to offer some phrases. And I'd like you to repeat in your mind what works. Otherwise, just breathe through it. But I'll repeat these phrases. And in consideration of this person, you might say, or in consideration of this person, you might consider saying, just like me, this person knows suffering. Just like me, this person knows suffering. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person seeks safety from the harsh conditions of the world. Just like me, this person seeks safety from the harsh conditions of the world. And just like me, this person is seeking to fill their needs. Just like me, this person is seeking to fill their needs. Just like me, this person believes they are doing the best they can. Just like me, this person believes they are doing the best they can. And if it feels right, you might offer for this person and to this person, may they be happy and free from suffering. May they be happy and free from suffering. May they be peace and live with ease. May they be peace and live with ease. May they be love, experience love, and know they are loved. May they be love, experience love, and know they are loved. And on your next exhale, releasing this person. And if it's comfortable, again, you might put your hand on your heart, and I'd like you to turn inward. If it's comfortable, if you're ready, you might consider seeing yourself in the mirror, or certainly you can look at yourself on the screen if you'd like to do that. But just for you, you may offer, may I be happy and free from suffering. May I be happy and free from suffering. May I be peace and live with ease. May I be peace and live with ease. May I be love, accept love, and know I am loved. May I be love, accept love, and know I am loved. And now I'd like you to take a moment and look for someone on the screen, even if you're just looking at their name. And we're going to offer some compassion and love to this person. So just pick someone. And you might offer, may you be happy and free from suffering. May you be peace and live with ease. May you be love, accept love, and know you are loved. And we'll just take a breath with that. I'm going to ring the bell. I have one more practice I want to share. Some of us have experienced being angry with ourselves, frustrated with ourselves. And I want to offer these phrases that I learned from Larry Yang, one of the founders of the East Bay Meditation Center and guiding teachers at Spirit Rock. And again, you can close your eyes if you'd like, however, whatever feels comfortable for you. I'm going to see if I can remember them and not read it. So in consideration of maybe you're having a hard time, you might offer, I can't remember, sorry. I'm going to have to look at it. It's so sad, I know it by heart. But I'm just going to look. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. So, may I be kind to myself in each moment. May I be kind to myself in each moment. And if I can't be kind to myself, can I be non-judgmental? And if I can't be kind to myself, can I be non-judgmental? And if I can't not be judgmental, can I not cause harm? And if I cannot not be judgmental to myself, can I not cause harm? And if I cannot not cause harm, can I cause the least amount of harm possible? And if I cannot not cause harm, can I cause the least amount of harm possible? And that was Larry Yang. And in this practice, we want to remember that we're human beings and we're having this human experience. I believe everything happens to grow us. Everything happens for our spiritual growth and enlightenment and awakening. And what happens when we live from there? What happens when we feel harmed or we harm ourselves and we choose to offer ourselves love instead of abandonment? What's possible when we can be kind to ourselves instead of causing ourselves harm? And I'm smiling thinking about how I used to talk about the failure of the most valuable player and how they will always miss more balls and hoops and goals than they will ever make. And it is in that failure and in that practice, and hopefully, it's a kindness. You keep going. We don't stop. But there's a going with this awareness. There's this awareness that, oh, I need to adjust this way, and I need to adjust that way. Or even better, I want to adjust this way, and I want to adjust that way. So that we can actually be kind to ourselves on our way to the end of our life, right? We're here for this short time. There's so much beauty and gifts in it. All the lotuses. How do we acknowledge the harm, acknowledge the suffering, acknowledge the pain, and acknowledge the beauty and the gifts and the abundance and the joys? So I think I'm going to stop talking and see if anybody wants to, if anyone has any questions or comments. And apologize again. I'm not at my best, but hopefully you felt served, or you feel served, because we're not done yet. Yeah. How are you?
I just want to say I really appreciate what you said about Trump. I feel like our country is so divided, and it just seems like such a helpful perspective. And I really appreciated that.
Thank you. Yes, Reverend Margaret and Celia.
I feel like I should almost have a mantra recording of these beautiful phrases that invite such tenderness that I think a lot of us can offer others on a good day, much easier than we can offer to ourselves. And it's kind of a kooky thing that we do to ourselves. So and I also wanted to just share, I don't have it in front of me, but Larry Yang also in his practice of being with people and talking about this has a beautiful forgiveness prayer. In the same light, it's, for any harm I have caused myself, knowingly or unknowingly, may I forgive myself. And it keeps going. And if I can't forgive myself, can I leave? And it's a really beautiful self-care practice that's not always used for self-care, but it can be used for self-care.
Yeah, and it would go something like this. If in any way that I've caused harm to anyone here, I ask for your forgiveness. And then we actually bow, we get down on our knees and bow. If anyone here, this is sort of a shorter version, has caused me harm in any way, know that you are already forgiven. And again, that I bow. And then weaving into that practice of the forgiveness and yeah, that's what I remember in the moment. Thanks for bringing that up, Reverend. We have a note. Let's see. Meg says, so cracked open by brokenness, yet open to hope and healing. Open to others, even when most punishing of self, because cannot offer forgiveness to them or to myself. Yeah, that's our work. That's our work. As the Reverend said, thank you, first of all, because I keep saying I'm going to make a video and put it on my website. I do have some YouTube, but any of us can make it. Any of us can make it and have our own voices on there, make a recording. Anyway, I'm not supposed to be talking.
All right, if you talk.
No. Reza has his mic off. You have your mic off.
Since you called it, your teachings tonight, as far as letting go and acknowledging the pains, I have a phrase from a Sufi mystic, Shams. He's the teachers of Sufi mystic Rumi, kind of yields in here. He says, whatever happens in your life, after how troubling things might seem, do not enter the neighborhood of despair, even when all doors remain closed. God will open up a new path only for you. A Sufi is thankful not only for what he has been given, but also for all that he has been denied.
Yeah. We love Rumi. And yes, to be grateful, because the thing we didn't get, we might not need.
Exactly.
That would let go of the suffering, that would
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. Can you imagine? Yes.
To not wander into the neighborhood of despair. How beautiful.
Yeah.
We are
That's
no
faith.
caravan of despair.
Say that
Yeah.
again, Bill.
We are no caravan of despair. It's a different Rumi poem. This is probably very different than some people may have thought that they were going to get in a series of anti-racism trainings. Many of us, especially with Western worldviews, like to be right or to learn how to be right rather than learning how to deal with our trauma. And if we're not going to deal with our own trauma, we're not going to be able to go to the places that are necessary to deal with where we learned our own implicit bias.
Thank you, Will. Yeah. Can I say more, or were you going to say more?
Please go. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Absolutely. In our culture, I mean, from kindergarten, right? If you were wrong, you end up in the back of the room. You literally get punished, right? But it's like we're here to learn and grow and expand. That's life. That's the plants and the trees. They don't, we don't reprimand. So really, that kindness, this self-compassion about being okay with not knowing. How can you practice spirituality really if you're not open to the expansiveness of it? It's not one word, one book, one way, right? We have to be open to the ever living, the ever changing, the ever growing, the ever expanding experience of life and spirit itself. So don't worry about being right or wrong. Don't worry about anything. Just work on being kind and present and seeing what shows up. That's been my practice. Trust me, did not like being wrong. But I'm learning, and humility is such a beautiful gift. Oh my goodness. Such a beautiful gift. Yeah. And what's his name? Lancelot doesn't own it. We can all practice it. But up, so anybody who knows Lancelot. It's 8:30.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful to have spent time with you this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Be well.
Thank you
Yes,
so
be
much.
well.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Hope you feel better.
Thank you. Me too.
Healing.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Namaste.
And you too, Deborah.
My voiceless Deborah.
Yes, Deborah, definitely.
Yeah, I hope Deborah heals well too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks
I'm
for being a
working.
part of our program this evening, and look forward to future iterations. January 31st from 2:30 to 5 p.m. And we'll be doing the implicit bias training that afternoon. And we're hoping to have Lev and Reverend Shonda together in a panel conversation, maybe in February too. So we're thinking down the road how to be able to pull on all the strings that allow us to bring about the going deeper that's so necessary with this work. So let us do so with each other and being gentle with each other as we go on this path. Thanks so much to you, Lev, for all that you've been for us tonight. And we just want to thank you and for all of the folks that were able to participate in whatever way or able to be blessed with the recording of this in the future. And we'll hope to get connected more on the next time we gather. Be well.
And please be safe and kind to yourself over this holiday season. All right. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well.
Bye.
Be safe.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you.